Hey folks, welcome to Peter Lerman Outdoors Podcast. I'm your host, Peter Lerman, and thank you for tuning in to us today. Today on the show, I wanted to talk to you about a product on the market that helps you organize your tackle. Lord knows, we can never have enough tackle. Just ask my wife, she'll tell me I got more than enough, but we don't compare tackle, and I don't talk about her shoes. Have you ever had one of your tackle trays open up and spill over, and all your lures are all over the floor of the boat or on the ground? Well, there's a company that has solved this issue for us, and that company is called Lure Lock. Today on the show, we're talking with Glenn Walker, who's going to talk to us about the tackle company called Lure Lock that solves all our problems as far as getting tackle trays and having our lures spill out all over the place. Glenn, welcome to the show.
All right, thanks for having me.
Glenn, go ahead and give us a description of what is Lure Lock.
Sure. So basically what Lure Lock is it's a brand new tackle box company. We're coming up on our 1-year anniversary. We first launched the products last November, right before Thanksgiving, so we're just still in our first year. And what makes our tackle boxes unique is compared to any of the other tackle trays out on the market. First off, all of our products are 100% made in America, right in Wisconsin, and so we have our just traditional standard tackle tray cases in 3 sizes. But what really sets Lure Lock apart from any other tackle organization system on the market is our cases that have the ElasTech liner in them. And what this liner is, it is an environmentally safe formula that is derived from a soy-based product that is produced right here in the United States. And what this liner does is when it goes down on the bottom of our cases, and what that does is it allows your tackle to stick to it. So when you're, like you mentioned, we've all had that, opportunity or that scenario where you're fishing and you forget you left the case open, or if you have kids or a clumsy fishing buddy in the boat, your case is there and it's open, but all of a sudden, they bump it, and next thing you know, you have a bunch of 1-aught and 2-aught and size 1 drop shot hooks all mixed together, and separating them is going to turn into a lengthy project. And so what our cases do is it keeps all of the tackle that you put in there secured to the bottom of the case, but yet it's not going to transfer any residue, any smell, any sticky solution to your lures, to your hooks or sinkers at all. So it's a product that is going to help you keep your tackle organized, and it's going to stay organized.
And you look at social media videos on and stuff like that. Bill Dance has it with the case upside down and no lures coming out of it. Which is, you're right. It solves that problem. I've knocked over a tray thinking that it was I closed the lid, forgot to snap it, thought it was closed, went to pick it up, and sure enough, everything was all over the deck of the boat. And you're right. It becomes all of a sudden now, instead of it's another added feature to my organizing, putting everything back together again that I spent all winter doing, and now I got to do it again in the middle of a fishing trip.
Yep, exactly.
So really cool idea, but I like elastic liner that's inside the box. I guess the big question I've talked to a couple people about it already. I guess one of the biggest questions that I've got from people is, and what a better person to ask, I noticed in all the advertising it shows for example, there's one crankbait or one plug or one whatever in a section or in a compartment in that tray. You had mentioned about 1-aught hooks and hooks or whatever, or weights and sinkers and stuff. What happens if I don't know about you, but my tackle tray has more than one lure per compartment?
Exactly, and that's a great question. And by no means are we saying that the ElasTech gel is going to magically transfer up through your baits and hold everything in place. It's not a magic show. It's not smoke and mirrors. And so yes, the baits that are on the bottom of the case will be stuck to the ElasTech. And so, let's say you have a jerkbait box and you have all your jerkbaits in it, and those ones on the bottom, they're stuck to the gel. the ones on top of it, won't be in contact with the gel. But what I found from, testing it out in my personal use, and, some of our anglers, that have used, Gerald Swindle on the Elite Series, Seth Fighter, all these anglers, they had the same kind of question at first. But what everyone is finding is that when you put those crankbaits or jerkbaits in a case and try and go to pull them out, what is going to happen is those baits that are on the bottom of the case are going to stay stuck to the gel. So when you pull out, a jerkbait that's on top of the one that's stuck, you're not going to be pulling out, 3 of them. You're going to pull them out, and if a treble hook is, caught on one of the other hooks, it's going to stop for a second, and then you can just quick, look at it and untangle them. So instead of how it would be in a normal, tackle tray of pulling out one, there's no resistance, on the back end of those baits. So when you pull out the one, you're going to pull out, anything that's connected to it. So, so even though those baits on top aren't touching the gel, it is still going to allow you to, remove those baits with less of a headache than a normal tackle tray.
And again, that in itself would save time.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
When you're
exactly
having to untangle everything. So cool. So I mean, that was, like I said, that was a question that I talked to a couple of people. Like, most anglers are all tackle junkies anyway.
Yeah, and, without a doubt.
And when we look at something, we go, like, is it for real or is it just a gimmick, right? And I'm really glad you clarified that, because it to me it shows, and the fact that you guys do have some very credible anglers on your pro staff, Gerald Swindle and Bill Dance and all these other people, and I mean it really does show that it's not a gimmick. You got Matt Lee and Jonathan Van Dam and stuff then, and Brett Ehler. So just a few guys, and as you mentioned, Seth Feeder and that. So these guys are. Their tackle is their living. It's obviously
exactly.
They need it, and they're not going to entrust their tackle into just anything, at least as far as I know anyway.
Yep, and kind of along that point, since the cases have the gel on the bottom, our anglers, both our pro staff and anglers just, that have bought our products at retail stores or at the Bassmaster Classic or the FLW Expo, what they're finding is that since with the cases have the gel on the bottom, you don't necessarily need to be purchasing and going with the trays that have your standard divider configurations of 4 rows with the vertical dividers going in. If you're going to be organizing those cases, let's say, with jerkbaits, let's say you have a box of all the, Shadow Wraps, Megabass, whatever your favorite jerkbaits are, what you're able to do is you can get one of our cases, in any of the 3 sizes. We have the LL1, which are smallest size, the LL2, which is the medium, and then the LL. Actually, I apologize. It goes LL1 is the large, LL2 the medium, and then the LL3 is the small. And what you're able to do is you can get one of these cases that does not have any dividers in it. So it is a complete open tray. But since you have the gel in there, you have the ability to lay those jerkbaits, lay those deep diving crankbaits with the big bills and big bodies, and just lay them on their back, so their back is fully in contact with the gel, and then you can pull them out without getting them tangled. So again, that's something that we're seeing our anglers doing, is going away from the standard tackle tray configurations of 3 or 4 rows with the vertical dividers going in.
Right. Just to clarify that, I can get a tray without the dividers in it?
Correct. Yep. So we have various configurations. You can get the cases without any dividers in it, so it's just a complete open case. Right. You can get them with with 1 row going across, and then the rest of the case is an open. The lower half or the lower 2/3 of it is all open. You can get it like in the LL1, our large case. You could get it where there's 2 rows on top, and then the bottom half is all open, and then we still have our standard the standard configuration of 4 rows in our large size, 4 rows in our medium size, and then 3 rows in the small size. And something very also unique about our cases is the dividers that go in vertically. There's no more need to have that side snips with you, to have a pocket knife to cut those dividers apart. Our dividers snap apart just with your fingers, so there's no more need to risk cutting your finger, or having those dividers not fit perfectly into the case, because when you snap them apart with your fingers, there's no rough edges, there's a clean edge on it, so it slides right in. And then with that gel on the bottom, that actually holds that divider in place, so you no longer have to worry about your small hooks, small sinkers sliding underneath those dividers.
That's a really cool idea, and I like the way you thought about that. Like you said, not having to have scissors or a knife or whatever to trim your dividers up. They snap in and out. So that's really cool, and it's amazing that it's taken companies this long to figure that one out.
Exactly. Yep. I can't even imagine how many people have slit a finger or punctured themselves when they're trying to take apart dividers for other tackle trays.
Right. How long did that adhesiveness stay on that gel?
Really, we've been testing it, and there is not any proven or documented life on it. It's sticky, and as long as the gel stays clean, without any dust or debris on it, it will continue to have that stickiness to it. So what is nice is if you're out fishing and you get some dirt or sand, or if it's during the springtime and you get some pollen from the trees on that gel, all you have to do is take those cases and wash them out with some soap and water, let them dry, and then they're brand new. Stickiness is all still there. So so there's really not a shelf life on the gel as long as that gel stays clean, which you can do by just cleaning it out at home. The gel is going to stay sticky.
That's really cool, because again, that's another typical question. I'm sure you would have heard it a million times before. So now, I guess, so we figured out that it locks pretty much most of everything in, and when you pull one out, you're going to pull one out, not the whole gamut of them that you have in your tray.
Yep.
I guess the other question is, with all the hooks getting into them, how durable is that, the elasticity?
Extremely durable. So you would have to, really try and jam a hook point or jam a knife through that gel to cause any damage to it. Just laying, the sharpest hook on that gel and, rub it and trying to pull that bait out isn't going to have any adverse effects to the gel. The gel also is extremely heat resistant. I did a test last spring where I actually put a piece of the gel in a frying pan with an egg, and the egg cooked and the gel did not. So, for the anglers, that, are down south and in the, or really anywhere, during the summer when that sun is beating out and, you have that case on the deck of your boat, or if it's in one of your storage compartments, or if you're, if you're a shore angler and you're, after work going out to hit the water and, the temperature in your car is just, creeping up all day, and you have your tackle box in there, the gel isn't going to liquefy or break down. It's going to stay a solid and stay, and you're not going to come back to a soupy mess.
That's really cool, and you're right. A lot of people that are taking their tackle trays or taking their tackle to work and going after work, especially if they're in a car or they have it in the trunk or something, whereas most guys might have it in the box of their truck or whatever the case may be. But yeah, the heat resistance to that is really cool, especially if you've got it set up with spinner baits or whatever in there.
Yep.
Would that cause a lot of problems with the skirts, especially some of the skirt materials that are out there?
Nope. So, and obviously some guys, have a preference that they're going to put their spinner baits or buzz baits or their skirted jigs in one of our cases that does not have the gel in it. Other anglers, they put their skirted baits in the cases with the gel and have not had any issues. I make, a box for during the summer months here, kind of my top water box when I'm pre-fishing for a tournament or just out fun fishing and playing around with baits. What I'll do is I'll use one of our LL1 cases and have the top 2 rows with my plugs, poppers, whopper ploppers, walk the dog baits. And then in that lower section where it's the lower half of the case, since it's all open, I'll throw in my buzz baits in there. And, even though those baits have skirts on them, I'll pull them right out, and, skirt material's not getting stuck to the gel. It's not, ripping. It's not getting stickier at all. The skirt material doesn't tear or get any, tack to it by being in the gel.
Mm-hmm. Again, so obviously you guys have thought of different aspects and have just not made it specifically for hard baits, which is good to see. And again, so basically to recap, the gel itself is resistant to reasonable heat. Basically would any normal day-to-day use of your tackle tray, transporting or whatever, just rough riding it in the boat, whatever, isn't going to do significant damage to the gel itself. You'd obviously have some malicious intent to the tray for it to do any damage to the
Yep.
So that's really cool. And I was just quickly looking at you before we came on the air. I was quickly looking through the website. Can I purchase just the gel if I want to use in my existing trays? Can I replace the gel in my lure lock trays?
Yes. So we sell, Lure Lock sells retro kits. So like you said, obviously, like you said earlier, we are all, tackle junkies. And so that means a lot of anglers out there have, tackle trays, coming out of their ears. And so, yes, we do sell the retro kits. So you can buy strips of the Elastec gel, cut them to fit your existing tackle trays, lay them down in the bottom of the tray, and that gel is going to stick to the bottom of your tray just like it would in our cases, and then it'll still be sticky on top to keep your bait stuck. It's a real nice way to convert, some of the existing tackle trays you have. So it allows anglers to kind of give our gel a try. If they're skeptical, want to give it a try, it's a great way. Or if they have a bunch of boxes that they still want to use, they can put those retro kits in there and put those cases to use.
Really cool. There's one more thing I wanted to talk about, and again, I've noticed on your website. But let's take a quick commercial break here, pay a few bills, and when we come back, I'll get you to tell us a little bit about what actually the lure locker is.
Sounds good.
Okay, so when we come back, we'll talk about that. Folks, stay tuned. You're listening to the Peter Lerman Outdoors podcast, and we're talking with Glenn Walker from Lure Lock. We'll be right back right after this. Livingston Lures. Livingston Lures is committed to bringing fishermen everywhere innovative, technologically advanced lures designed to flat-out catch fish in fresh and salt water. With an exciting new line of crankbaits, lipless crankbaits, topwater baits, jerk baits, and wake baits featuring a unique sound and vibration technology. Livingston Lures is set to make some real noise across the fishing industry. Hey folks, welcome back. If you're just tuning in, today we're talking with Glenn Walker from Lure Lock, which happens to be a fairly new company with still in their first year, and they're a company that manufactures tackle trays. But the difference between this tackle tray and any other ones that are on the market, there is a Elastec compound in the tray itself that locks your lures in place. Whether it's hard baits, jigs, as we talked about earlier in the show, weights, sinkers, hooks, whatever the case may be, and they're easily customizable, which is really cool. Before the break, we were talking about the last feature that I think that Lure Lock has, and it's called their Lure Locker. So, Glenn, tell us a little bit about that.
Sure. So the Lure Locker we just launched at ICAST this past year, and it actually won the award at ICAST for Best Tackle Management System product. And so it's a real exciting product for us. And what it does is it's a very simple way for anglers to store, transport their lure locker cases. So, obviously, there's a lot of tackle bags on the market that anglers, can put their cases in. But, for the anglers that are looking to transport their cases, from their home, from their shop, into the boat, or if they're hopping in with other anglers, not everyone is looking to have that huge tackle bag, and so it's a very simplistic product that it comes in 3 sizes, so it'll accommodate any of the sizes of our cases. And what you do is you just slide the cases in, the front of the lure locker folds up, you lock it in place, and those cases are in there secure. What's also unique about the lure locker is on the back of it, you have a ability to hang that on the wall of your tackle shop, or in your basement, and that way you can keep all your cases off the floor, keep them out of way from getting tripped over, and then that way you can easily see what's in there, grab out some of the cases, put them in the boat, and then that way you can really kind of stay on point in your tackle management and organization throughout the year.
That's a really cool aspect, and I like the fact that you're right. There are so many tackle bags out there on the market today, different sizes, different layouts, and can hold X amount of trays. I really like this aspect from a co-angler point of view, where if you're going into a buddy's boat, you can just grab that lure locker and you've already got whatever trays you needed. It's a lot less cumbersome than the tackle bag itself.
Exactly. I mean, sometimes, and because when I'm fishing, tournaments, I have co-anglers hopping in with me, and it is, sometimes, you have these co-anglers show up in their tackle bags. They're carrying more tackle than I have, and it's like, okay, I know you need to be prepared, which I respect that, but at the same time, it's just getting in their way, which they get frustrated. And so really, by downsizing and having that minimalistic kind of approach to your tackle organization, you can, put together a tackle system where, because with the cases with the gel, you can mix and match baits in the cases, and they're going to stay, in place because of the gel, so you don't have to be bringing as many tackle trays as you would with traditional cases. And then, with the lure locker, you can, they're all in place. You can quickly pull one out, put it back in. If it rains, it's going to, be protected, and you're not going to have to worry, about a bag getting wet and having to deal with that.
Right, exactly. What's the lure locker made out of?
The lure locker is made out of ABS plastic, so very durable. All of our products, are very durable, and they can will hold up to the rigors of being on the water.
Excellent. Well, Glenn, people can get more information or contact their local tackle shop or retailer, but where else can they get more information on all the products that you guys use or offer?
Sure. So all of our products and more information is on our website at www.lurelock.com, and all of our products are in Bass Pro Shops, Cabela's, Academy, Sportsman's Warehouse, Tackle Warehouse, Field and Stream. And then we have a great independent dealer network as well. So if there's any questions, check us out on our website, lurelock.com, on our Facebook and Instagram accounts. And if there's any questions, please reach out to us, and we'll gladly answer them. And hope everyone takes a chance to try out the products and during this off season and get their tackle organized for next season.
That's awesome. Thanks very much, Glenn. I want to thank you for talking to us today about the Lure Lock, and congratulations for you guys winning Best Tackle Management over at ICAST there in 2018. That I've talked to several companies that have won at ICAST, and that accolade has helped their companies, grow exponentially and a lot quicker than traditional timelines, I suppose. But so congratulations to you guys, and again, thank you very much for taking the time to talk to us today. I appreciate it.
You're very welcome, and thank you for having me. I appreciate it, and thank you for the kind words. We're appreciative of all the support.
Folks,